What's up everybody? In this video I'm going to be answering the most common question I get, which is what should I know and what should I practice if I'm new to the game? So I'm going to be talking about some useful mechanics, I'm going to give examples of how to use them, and I'm going to tell you how to practice them as well. This video is designed for beginners, so I won't be getting into the more advanced tech. The goal is for you to be able to implement these as soon as possible so that you can see a big difference in your gameplay right away. With that said, let's get started. So the first thing I want to talk about is platform movement. This is very important to master as it's a key part of your neutral and your punish game. The first thing I want to talk about with platform movement is being able to wave land onto a platform from below the platform height. So I'm going to use Zetaburn as an example here on Blazing Hideout. As you can see, if I full hop with Zetaburn, he doesn't quite make it to the platform, he's just below it. I'm going to go into a little more detail, show you that his full hop reaches its peak on frame 27. So 26, 27 is his last little pixel he gets of height. And yeah, just looking at it closer, there's no way he gets onto the platform. He's his sphere right under it, right? But that doesn't stop you from being able to wave land onto it in Rivals. So if I full hop and I wave land or air dodge horizontally, I'm going to wave land onto the platform, just like this. And I don't have to go exactly horizontal. I can do it at an angle. I can even do it straight down. This is going to be very important to master because it lets you get onto the platform as soon as you possibly can. And just go into a little bit more detail, I don't even have to wait until that frame 27 as Zetaburn or frame 28 to air dodge as Zetaburn. I can actually full hop, air dodge as soon as frame 18, I believe. And this looks really low if you're looking at it, right? You wouldn't think that you should be able to wave land onto the platform with Zetaburn's character model being where he is. But I'm going to input an air dodge sideways right now, and as you see there, I make it on. So that's almost a 10 frame window from Zetaburn's full hop where he can land onto this platform, or wave land onto this platform. And this is a really big deal. If you master this, then you can, get on the platform really quickly for tech chases, just to get a height advantage if that's what you're going for, to try and shark them, whatever it may be. So first thing, practice it as you've seen me doing it here. Standing, just do a full hop, wave land on, right? You can do this as many times as you want. You can add a double jump. I tend, and I think a lot of people tend to full hop, but instantly double jump as well. Same thing, it doesn't matter. As long as you know that you're inputting the air dodge when you're below the platform height and getting it as soon as possible, that's the goal here. So do it out of a stand like this. You should practice it out of a run as well. This is where you really see me doing my double jump. I almost never do a full hop and wait for the animation. I'm not sure if double jumping is faster. If it is, it's very marginal. But it's just a muscle memory at this point. So doing it out of a run. And then lastly, which will also be a big part of your bait game in neutral, is falling through the platform, instantly double jumping, and then wave landing on. Like this. This is very common, very common in Rivals. Because your only defensive option, say for this crag, is for him to parry in this situation or to wave dash back, right? If he thinks I'm going to fall forward and fair. Well, I can bait out both of those options he chooses by just doing this. And he's only going to be able to react to me falling, and maybe he'll just parry. If he parries and I do this, then I'm going to fall with the forward air right after I wave land onto the platform. So this is very important to practice. You're going to want to master this whole movement. And it'll apply on any platform. Once you do it here, it'll work on anywhere. So practice this. It's going to be very important for your neutral game. The next thing I want to talk about, or tell you what to practice, is wave landing at all distances. So you've seen me do it at this point. I'm doing complete horizontal wave lands. It's easier to wave land in Rivals than in say Melee. You have much more leniency, obviously, and so you can get full horizontal wave lands and wave dashes pretty reliably. You just have to practice it. Practice in place, practice slightly forward, slightly more forward, slightly more forward, and then the full wave land horizontally. So you can also practice falling off of a platform right away. So maybe I want to play neutral and I want to get a back air on Craig, but I also want to cover his jump. So I may wave land off of this platform and then throw out an aerial. This is the next thing to practice, as it's very important to get your aerials out in a approaching fashion, because you can fall through the platform at any point. So you can practice wave landing off the platform like that, or you can come to the center and then just practice falling, like inputting down, and then the arrow of your choice. I would say honestly practice this with all aerials of whichever character you're using. It just depends, but it's going to be very important for your neutral game, and even your punish game as well, to be able to wave land off or wave land on and immediately fall through and do an aerial. The last thing about platform movement that I want to talk about is platform boosting. So this is me running and jumping. This is like the arch I get. It's very tall. It's pretty slow horizontally. And this is me doing a dashing short hop. You know, it's obviously going to be shorter. Those are the two types of movements you'd expect from jumping off the platform. But there's also platform boosting, which is useful for extending combos and reaching people at an angle that nothing else would have reached. So this is me falling, or this is me platform boosting. And in order for me to do it, I'm falling, I'm dashing first. I'm falling, probably for like a frame or two, and then I input my double jump. These ones, like this, where you see me going very, very tall vertically, these are not platform boosts. The platform boost is going to get you very far horizontally, and it's going to get you at an angle that is not as, it's, you know, perceptually not as steep as the full hop, because you're lowering your body from the platform before inputting your double jump. And so this is really key. You'll see a lot of players use this from a platform in order to reach people that are pretty far away, because as you can see, it makes a big difference in your movement. You clearly fly further, and it's really fast. There's two ways to perform it. It's the one I just said, where you're gonna run, you're gonna fall. I'm gonna fall for 2 frames here, and then I'm gonna hold forward again. I'm gonna input my jump. You'll see I'll just fly forward with using my double jump. Keep in mind, you clearly won't have it afterwards, so if you are gonna go off stage with it, be ready to recover without your double jump. The other way you can perform the platform boost is by just running off of a platform or a ledge, or like the base stage, and inputting your double jump right after your character falls off. The key here to the tech is being able to maintain your running speed, like your horizontal speed, and using your double jump, using your double jump with that speed. So here again, you can see I'm flying really far forward. After so many frames, I've made it that far. As compared to if I was to jump, if I was to just input my full hop here on the platform, if you compare with the last jump I just did, you can see that I'm not in the same position, and I'm not as far forward as I was from using my double jump. So it really is just a quick way to get full horizontal double jump movement from a platform, or like I said, from a stage. I can do it here as well. So just to show a quick example of how this is useful, I'm going to prepare Crag, and I'm going to set him to DI up and drift DI in. Drift DI, this is something we're going to be talking about soon. What I want to show is that if I hit him with a sweet spot forward air, I'm not going to be able to get to him just by normal running and jumping at him. You see that? Like, there's no way I'm going to make it to him. Now, if I platform boost, my fair will be able to connect. Just like that. And I don't want to make this, you know, a long thing. It's really a really useful tech that you'll be able to find uses for on your own. Mastering it is going to be able to help you get extra combos, and it'll surprise your opponent with positioning if they're trying to recover and they just see you, you know, standing around. That'll be an extra boost of movement that can really surprise them. That's everything I have for platform movement. Let's get on with Hitfalling. So the next thing I want to talk about is Hitfalling. Hitfalling is very important to maximize your damage in Rivals. The mechanic lets you fast fall at any point in the air as long as you hit your opponent with an aerial. This means you can do a rising aerial and fast fall before you reach the peak of your jump. If you've watched any high-level gameplay, you've seen how fast-paced it makes the game. If you want to practice it, I suggest going Rhino versus Crag, picking an FD stage. I suggest using Rhino's Nair, his forward air, his back air, or his up air. Basically, I would suggest using everything except his down air to practice this tech at first. In order to do it, I would suggest putting Crag's DI on in, and putting his drift DI on in, and setting his tech to none just for fun. Having him at 0%, just perform the hitfall. To do it, you're going to jump, input Nair in this case, and during these hit pause frames, you're going to have to input down on the control stick. And this is basically hitfalling. And this is how you will perform the hitfall. Just to reiterate, this is Rano's short hop height. But I never reach that height whenever I'm hitting this crag, because I'm hitfalling before I get there. And that's really the power of hitfalling. Like I said, I'd suggest using any of those aerials. Forward air, back air, up air, nair, and just getting that down until it's muscle memory for you. And then, you know, moving on to your character of choice, it'll apply the same, and you'll find it just as useful, and you'll be able to get combos very, very easily if you master this technique. Next, I want to talk about recovery. With these 3 tips, you should be able to recover with anyone in the game with ease. The first is to get to the wall while still having all of your resources. By resources, I mean my double jump and your air dodge. So, double jump and air dodge are your key resources that you won't get back until you get back onto the stage. Meanwhile, for example, Apsa's neutral special doesn't have a limit to offstage use, and your up special, with any character, gets refreshed upon wall jumping. So if you can get to the wall with your specials, then you'll be able to have every option available to you as a mix-up. The main 2 ways you're going to get back on the stage once you reach the wall are to ledge dash, which is wall jumping and then wave landing on, or wall jumping and then double jumping, wave landing onto the stage. This is really quick, and it can surprise your opponent. So with Apsa, I'm going to double jump wave land. Now her double jump wave land is delayed because of her double jump, you know, not rising as traditional as the others. So she may do a wall jump wave land as an alternative option. The other way you're going to get onto the stage is by wall jumping, double jumping, and then using an aerial. And so you're going to want to practice with whichever character you main or want to get good with at recovery, as all of their double jump heights are going to be different, and the timings of the aerial that you want to throw out are going to be different as well. These 3 tips you should be able to recover with just about anyone in the game. And the last thing I want to emphasize is mixing up your DI with your drift DI. Drift DI affects your horizontal placement after you get hit from a move, and it can really mess up your opponent if they're relying on reactions. For example, if you get hit by an Apsa up tilt, they're probably going to go for an up air afterwards to confirm the kill. But if you drift DI out of the up tilt, they might not be able to react in time and they'll miss, which will put them in a bad position. This applies to many moves in the game, like Orcane's down tilt, his up tilt, Apsa's forward tilt, so on and so forth. So, being able to master drift DI is a very important part of the defense mechanics in Rivals. And that's all I have for this video. Hopefully that's really helpful for some of you, and you can start to see some results right away. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.